Good morning, children, and Saira. Welcome to the part 3rd, class 7th history, chapter number 10th, that is 18th century political formation. So, children, before moving further, let's see the topic which we already covered in the previous video. So, in previous video, we have already discussed these topics: the crisis of the empire and later Mughals. Nadir Shah attacked over the Delhi, emergence of new states, the old Mughal provinces, Hyderabad, Awadh, and Bengal. Right? So, till the old Mughal provinces, we already discussed in the previous video. Now, in this session, we are going to discuss other groups: the Vatan Jagis of the Rajput, and the next, seizing independence, the Sikh, the Marathas, and last, the Jats. So, before moving further, let's take a quick recap what we have discussed in the previous video. So, in previous video, we have discussed about the old Mughal provinces, right? We have discussed about Hyderabad, Awadh state, and Bengal, right? So, Hyderabad state, as we know that it was founded by Nizam ul Mulk Asaf Jah, right? And he was one of the most powerful members at the court of Mughal Emperor Farrukhsiyar. Next, we have Awadh. The state of Awadh was founded by Burhan ul Mulk Sadat Khan. Right? Clear? In the year 1722. Basically, he did not like, Sadat Khan did not like the Mughal influence in the Awadh region, and therefore he reduced the number of office holders or Jagirdars appointed by the Mughals. The next we learned Bengal. So Murshid Quli Khan took the control of Bengal and began to command the revenue administration of the state. So this is what we have learned in the previous video. Now, our next topic is Vatan Jagis of the Rajputs. So basically, states that had enjoyed considerable independence under the Mughal as Vatan Jagis, and these includes several Rajputs. Okay, so basically, children, the Vatan Jagis of the Rajput. Many Rajput kings, particularly those belonging to the Amber and Jodhpur, had served under the Mughals with distinctions. In exchange, they were permitted to enjoy autonomy in their Vatan Jagis, right? So basically, in the 18th century, these rulers now attempt to extend their control over the adjacent regions. Basically, Ajit Singh, the ruler of Jodhpur, right? Ajit Singh, ruler of Jodhpur, was also involved in the factional politics at the Mughal court. And this influential Rajput families claimed the Subedari of the rich provinces of Gujarat and Malwa. Basically, Raja Ajit Singh, as I said, Raja Ajit Singh, the ruler of Jodhpur, right? Raja Ajit Singh of Jodhpur held the governorship of the Gujarat, clear? And Savai Raja Jai Singh of Amber was governor of Malwa, clear? Raja Ajit Singh, he was the ruler of Jodhpur. So he held the governorship of Gujarat. And next, Savai Raja Jai Singh of Amber was governor of Malwa. Now these offices were renewed by Emperor Jahandar Shah in 1713. Actually, they also tried to extend their territories by seizing portions of the imperial territories, basically neighboring their Vatans. Okay, so Nagpur first. Nagpur was conquered and annexed to the house of Jodhpur, and then while Amber seized large portion of Bundi. Clear? First they annexed Nagpur and then they seized large portion of Bundi. Clear? Okay. Savai Raja Jai Singh founded his new capital at Jaipur. Clear? Savai Raja Jai Singh founded his new capital at Jaipur and was given the Subedari of Agra in 1722. Basically, Maratha campaigns into Rajasthan from 1740s put severe pressure on these principalities and checked their further expansion. Is it clear about the Vatan Jagis of the Rajput? Clear. So the Rajput kings like of Amber and Jodhpur were given permission by the Mughals to enjoy autonomy in their Vatan Jagis, and soon these rulers began to extend their control over the adjacent regions. Okay. Next we have seizing independence. So basically this include, or basically the last group, and this include states under the control of Marathas, Sikh and others like the Jat. And these were of different sizes and had seized their independence from the Mughals after a long drawn armed armies. So, first we have the Sikhs. Clear? Okay. The organization of Sikh into a political community during the 17th century. Okay, during the 17th century helped in regional state building in the Punjab. So basically, Guru Gobind Singh, several battles were fought by Guru Gobind Singh against the Rajput and Mughal rulers. Now, children, tell me, who was Guru Gobind Singh? Guru Gobind Singh, he was the 10th Sikh Guru. Okay, who was the Guru Gobind Singh? He was the 10th Sikh Guru. So several battles were fought by Guru Gobind Singh against the Rajput and Mughal rulers, both before and after the institution of Khalsa in 1699. Now, what is Khalsa? Basically, in 17th century, Guru Gobind Singh organized the community of warriors, Sikh warriors. Okay, in 17th century, Guru Gobind Singh organized the community of warrior called Khalsa. Clear? Okay. Now, after his death, that means after the death of Guru Gobind Singh in 1708, the Khalsa rose in revolt against the Mughal authority under Banda Bahadur's leadership. Clear? After the Guru Gobind Singh, the Khalsa, that means the community of warrior, right? They revolt against the Mughal authority under Banda Bahadur's leadership and declared their sovereign rule by striking coins in the name of Guru Nanak and Guru Gobind Singh. And they also established their own administration where between the Satluj and the Jamuna. Banda Bahadur was captured in 1715, but very earlier he also executed in 1716. Clear? So after the Guru Gobind Singh death, the Khalsa rose revolt against the Mughal authority, right, under the leadership of Banda Bahadur. Clear? Okay. Next, then under a number of able leaders in the 18th century, Sikh organized themselves into a number of bands called Jats or later on missiles. Right. So basically, missiles means small political groups of the Sikh warrior. Missiles means small political groups of Sikh warrior. And their combined force were known as Grand Army, right? That is also known as Dal Khalsa. Clear? Dal Khalsa means Grand Army of Sikh warrior. Clear? Their combined force were known as the Grand Army Dal Khalsa. And the entire body used to meet at Amritsar at the time of Baisakhi and Diwali to take collective decisions known as resolutions of the Gurmatas. Then a system called Rakhi they were introduced. Okay, a system called Rakhi was introduced, offering protection to the cultivators on the payment of a tax 20% of the produce. Clear? They introduced a system called Rakhi to protect cultivators on the payment of a tax of 20% of the produce. Then Guru Gobind Singh had inspired the Khalsa, okay, with the belief that their destiny was to rule Raj Karega Khalsa, and their well knit organization enabled them to put up a successful resistance to the Mughal governors first and then Ahmad Shah Abdali, who had seized the rich province of the Punjab and the Sarkar of Sirhind from the Mughals. So basically, soon the Khalsa declared their sovereign rule by striking their own coin again in 1765. Clear? The Khalsa declared their sovereign rule again in 1765. Now, Sikh territories in the late 18th century. If we talk about the Sikh territories in the late 18th century, they extended from the Indus to the Jamuna, but they were divided under different rulers. And one of them, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, reunited these groups and they established his capital at Lahore in 1799. Clear? So, who reunited these groups? Maharaja Ranjit Singh. He reunited these groups and established his capital at Lahore in 1799. Is it clear about the Sikh? Okay. Next, we have the Marathas. Okay. The Marathas. The Maratha kingdom was another powerful regional kingdom to arise out of a sustained opposition to Mughal rule. Chhatrapati Shivaji, 1627 till 1608, carved out a stable kingdom with the support of powerful warrior families, Deshmukhs. Groups of highly mobile and peasant pastoralists, Kunbis, right? Kunbis, they provided the backbone of the Marathas. Clear? So Kunbis means Maratha, peasant, warriors. Clear? Now, after Shivaji's death, what happened after Shivaji's death? Now, what happened after Shivaji's death? Under the Peshwas, or we can say that after Shivaji's death, effective power in the Maratha state was wielded by a family of Chitpavan Brahmins who served Shivaji's successor as Peshwa or principal minister. So basically, at that time, Pune became the capital of Maratha kingdom. And under the Peshwa, the Marathas developed a very successful military organization. Clear? Under the Peshwas, the Maratha developed a very successful military organization, and their success lay by bypassing the fortified areas of the Mughals, by raiding cities, and by engaging Mughal armies in the areas where their supply lines and reinforcements could be easily disturbed. Then, between 1720 and 1767, the Maratha Empire expanded. So basically, it gradually chipped away at the authority of Mughal Empire. Clear? So this is the time period where Maratha Empire expanded. Okay. First, Malwa and Gujarat were seized from the Mughals by the 1720s. Clear? First, Malwa and Gujarat were seized from the Mughals by 1720s, and by the 1730s, the Maratha king was recognized as the overlord of the entire Deccan Peninsula. So he posed the right to leave Chauth and Sardeshmukhi in the entire region. Now, let's understand about Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. So, basically, Chauth is the 20% of the land revenue. Chauth was the 20% of land revenue claimed by the Jamidars in the Deccan. And same Sardeshmukhi, basically 9-10% of the land revenue paid to the head revenue collector in Deccan. And this was basically collected by the Marathas. Okay, clear? Chauth 20% of the land revenue and Sardeshmukhi 9-10% of the land revenue paid to the head revenue collector in the Deccan. Now, after raiding Delhi in 1737, the frontiers of Maratha domination expanded rapidly. Okay, let's see where. First, into Rajasthan and the Punjab in the north. Okay, so first Rajasthan and the Punjab in the north, then into Bengal and Odisha in the east side, then into Karnataka and the Tamil and Telugu countries in the south. Clear? These were not formally included in the Maratha Empire but were made to pay tribute as a way of accepting Maratha sovereignty. Expansion brought numerous resources, but it came at a price, and these military campaigns also made other rulers hostile towards the Marathas, and as a result, they were not inclined to support the Marathas during the Third Battle of Panipat, which was fought in the year of 1761. Clear? As a result, they were not inclined to support the Marathas during the Third Battle of Panipat, which was fought in which year? 1761. So, alongside endless and less military campaigns, the Marathas developed an effective administrative system as well. Once conquest had been completed and Maratha rule was secure. Revenue demands were gradually introduced, taking local conditions into the account. Agriculture was encouraged, trade revived, and this allowed Maratha chief Sardars like Sindhya of Gwalior, right? Maratha campaigns into Malwa in the 1720s did not challenge the growth and prosperity of the cities in the region. Clear? So, this is all about the Maratha. Next, we have the Jats. So, like the other states, the Jats consolidated their power during the late 17th and 18th century. Clear? Like the other states, Jat also consolidated their power during the late 17th century and 18th centuries. And under their leader, Churaman, they acquired control over territories situated to the west of the city of Delhi. Clear? And then by the 1680s, they had begun dominating the region between the two imperial cities of Delhi and Agra. And for a while, they become the yes, they become the virtual custodians of the city of Agra. Now, who were the Jats? First of all, so the Jats were prosperous agriculturists, and the towns like Panipat and Ballabgarh became trading centers in the areas which was dominated by them. That means Jat. So, under Surajmal, the kingdom of Bharatpur. Okay, under Surajmal, the kingdom of Bharatpur emerged as a strong state or nation. Basically, when Nadir Shah sacked Delhi in 1739, so many of the city's notables took refuge there, and his son Zawahir Shah had 30,000 troops of his own and hired another 20,000 Maratha and 15,000 Sikh troops to fight the Mughals. But while the Bharatpur fort was built in a fairly traditional style, at the dig the Jats built an elaborate garden palace combining styles seen at Amber and Agra. Its buildings were modeled on architectural forms first associated with royalty under Shah Jahan. So, children, here we have completed this chapter, right? I hope that is it clear everything here? So, children, here we have completed this chapter. So, I hope that the topics we discussed here in this video, in this chapter, I hope that you all understood these topics. Okay, now what you have to do? You have to read this chapter thoroughly and watch all these videos carefully, right? And just note down important terms which we discussed in these videos, okay, in rough notebook. So we will meet again in next video. Till then, bye, take care and keep learning.